Hi, I'm Kevin from Benson Stone. I'm here to show you how to light your pilot on your gas direct vent fireplace or vent free. This particular fireplace happens to be a vent free with a screen. Your direct vent fireplaces typically have solid glass panels on the front. So the first thing you need to do is find your valve, your main valve control. This particular one happens to be underneath the fireplace, which is where you're going to find most of them. Either behind a louver, you may have to take a face off, somewhere in there, but find your main valve control. This particular one here has your main valve on the right and your high-low knob on the left. And the high-low knob is we're not going to mess with right now in this video. The second part that you need to locate, or second control you need to locate, is a piezo ignition. This particular one happens to be red. It's a little button down here on the bottom that you push, you hear a nice loud click that usually sends a spark to the pilot area. Next you need to locate where your pilot flame used to be if it's out in this case. You may not always see it. It may be underneath some logs, might be behind some things hidden pretty well. Hopefully you can find it or know where it is, so that way when you relight it, you can see the actual flame. So to get to the procedure, you're going to find your main valve control down here, which is your on the knob it says it says on, pilot, and off. So there's three positions. I'm going to use my right hand here. So off, pilot, and on. If you turn it clockwise all the way, you will be in the off position. If you turn it counterclockwise all the way, you will be in the full-on burner position. The middle position is the pilot position. Now there are some valves out there that you do need to press in slightly to change them in the different positions, especially going from on to pilot. You need to push it in to get to the off position. So again, the pilot position is the center position of the three. So find that. Once you find that, this particular case, the pilot word is facing over to the right. To the indicator, there's a little line there where the indicator is. And while I push it in, it goes in extra far, gas flows out of the pilot hood there. And once you get that in, you're going to then take your other hand, which is tricky sometimes, hit the piezo igniter a few times. Depending on how long it's been off, there may be some air that needs to bleed out. So you actually may need to push the piezo igniter holding the knob in for 10 seconds, maybe even a minute long, but just keep holding it until you get the ignition. Once it's lit, you're going to hold the knob in to let the thermocouple heat up for about 30 seconds to 60 seconds, somewhere in that area. I'm going to go ahead and let go now, and the pilot stayed on. So once you hold the knob in and the pilot's lit, when you let go after about 60 seconds again and the pilot goes out, do it again. If you do it another 60 seconds and it still doesn't stay on, try it for longer. If you go over 2 minutes and it still doesn't stay on, most likely that's an indication that your thermocouple is bad, possibly a bad valve, more likely a bad thermocouple. Then it would be time to call for a service. The next step then is to make sure you turn it back to the on position. So this is the burner on position. If you forget to do that, when you hit your wall switch or your remote control, the burner is not going to turn on. So just make sure this is back in the on position as well.